ones have you ever had? Yeah, come over, all right.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District, Monday, August 13th, 2018, to order. Please rise for an invocation and a moment of silence, followed by the pledge.
We want to have a moment of silence for 9 firemen this past month, across the U.S. that have lost their lives. And so let's have that in our prayer. Dear God, we come and we give you thanks for those that are willing to put themselves in harm's way for other people and the firemen across this nation, those that have lost a loved one. And Lord, I pray that you might strengthen them and bless them. Lord, and we pray for protection of the firemen in California and the fires that they're fighting, and so many fires. Just pray that you'll show them mercy and care upon them. Also be with Chief Daigle as he recovers from his injury. I pray that you'll give him quick healing and strength. Thank you for the blessings we have each day. Thank you for this gathering, and grant the commissioners wisdom as they lead this department. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any public comment on agenda items this evening? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the July 5th, 2018 budget workshop minutes.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I also need a motion for the July 9th, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
I'd like to make an amendment.
I'll second it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, second, and then this
Motion.
discussion. What's the amendment?
The amendment would be where we have decided that the people who get the Phoenix Award, we will mention their names. I also requested at that time that we list their rank and position so that it can be memorialized as to who they were and what their position was when this took place, because this is something we should not forget.
We take care of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll pass as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Need one motion for the approval of the July 2018 financials, current expenditures and ACH payments for July 2018, acknowledgement of financial report, acknowledgement of wire transfers and transfers between accounts.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Presentations.
Good evening. Tonight, actually, this is the first time I've ever had to do this, so it's a distinct pleasure for me to do a couple of presentations tonight. First one we're going to do is the promotion of Lieutenant Mark Simon. Mark, if you come up here, please. Just to let everybody know, Mark is a 17-year-old veteran at the Bonita Springs Fire Department, almost 17 years now. He's been an acting lieutenant for 10 years. He's been a paramedic for about 6-7 months now. I'd just like to commend Mark over the past 10 years as him being an acting lieutenant. You know, things have changed, requirements have changed. Mark's always steadfast and rolled with the punches, and takes great pride in me congratulating him to the rank of lieutenant. He is always one of those guys that we could go to. He was first on USAR, one of the first guys on USAR, very knowledgeable. He's going to be a great asset to the lieutenant rank. And tonight, his father, James Simon, is going to pin him.
You got to strive to look that good in the uniform.
Some blood.
Hi, Ed.
Sorry.
Next presentation that we have is for the one-year pin for John Nichols. John is an 17-year veteran of the fire service. He started out his career in Ohio, then moved down to San Carlos Park, and since then he's come to us he came to us a year ago now. This is his one-year pin. John is our new training captain. He's done a very, very fine job for us thus far, and I think we're going to let him off probation here next week, so I think we're going to keep him. So hopefully someday
Made
he'll
a
be
big milestone here.
Yeah, big milestone here. 1 year off probation. It's the thing. So I think John has a long career here at the Bonita Springs Fire Department. Congratulations on your 1-year pin. Next one is Kelly Wilson, his partner in crime, in the training department. They both are training captains. Kelly started her career about 13, 14 years ago, started out as EMS, then went to Lehigh for a little brief, then she went to Captiva. So we kind of stole her away from Captiva. She's developed into a great training officer here at Bonita Springs. She is pretty much in charge of our EMS training here lately. And not that John doesn't do it, but John helps out with that too. But it's been Kelly's passion. We've gotten a new fire service training software and report writing software, and Kelly's taken a liking to it, and she's kind of taken the reins and taken it over. So congratulations to Kelly on her first year. And she too will be getting off the road. And that's all we have tonight for presentation, sir.
Congratulations to all. Next item up is Commissioner's Business. Commissioner Murphy?
Nothing extra today.
Commissioner Casilla?
I just want to wish our chief well in his injuries and his getting back to health again. And I know I speak for all of us that anything he needs, we will take care of. Thank you.
Commissioner Fitzgerald?
I just want to comment on the website for the Bonita Springs Fire Department showing the broadcasting in the board meetings. Right now, there's a problem on the site. There's no audio, and the visual is frozen also. So I'm hoping we can get that fixed as soon as possible. Other than that, I have nothing to say.
Commissioner Fitzgerald, is it all videos or just a particular month?
Last month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Machuro?
I just have a question for Mr. Fernandez. I received an email from someone in Bonita Springs regarding an arson investigation. Do you have anything to do with arson investigations here in the city?
What it is we've got a report from Lee County Sheriff's Office. They ran a past occurred fire. I believe it was in your neighborhood in San Remo.
Right.
And this person is I guess has a history of arson. Right now, the Bonita Springs Fire Department has one arson investigator, Lieutenant Jonathan Whitlock. He is on the Lee County Arson Task Force. He's been notified of it along with the Lee County Arson Task Force.
Okay,
So
so
they do know about it.
Okay, so we actually work that in a conjunction with the
Yes, with
Sheriff's
Lee
Office.
County, they called us down to assist because it is in our jurisdiction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to get a consensus from the board. I know we're working on our long-term planning and our budget for a station for the property out off of Imperial Parkway. And we already own that property in San Carlos Estates. I've had a thought that I wanted to run by the commissioners before we go any further with this, that one of our response times in that area are not good, and obviously with the new high school there, we're going to be running a lot more calls. I don't know if it's feasible, if there's enough property on the high school property, but I would like the opportunity to at least talk to the superintendent and see if we have to build another station anyway, to do a joint, have our station on the high school property. It'll give a presence for security, which unfortunately we all have to think about today in this rotten world that, we got to worry about kids getting killed in school. It will give vehicles and people coming and going 24 hours a day at the high school, which I think is a good thing. I think that, I just wanted to get a consensus from the board to at least talk, like I said, talk to the superintendent and see what his thoughts are on it, and then from there, obviously, it would go up the chain to the school board, but I don't feel that it's something, and right now, the timing's probably not perfect because it's the first week of school, and that's never a good time to talk to anybody that works for the school. I would just like a consensus from the board to see what they think about that. Collier County, for quite a number of years, on their school properties, have put modular homes for police officers, and they charge them a reasonable amount of rent, and it gives them the security that they need, and every school has, I think it's every school, Jeff would probably know.
Every single school.
I think it is every school has a police officer, and I'm kind of thinking that if this was a pilot program in Bonita, and all the new schools that are going to have to be built from here in different districts, it may give a thought process over the next 10 or 12 years that it's taxpayer money, we're buying the property anyway, why buy two separate properties when we can maybe kill two birds with one stone? I just want to see if we've got agreement on the board that we can pursue this.
I think it's a great idea. I'd like, is this on? I think it's a great idea. I think it's something we should pursue and take a look at. I would ask, how far is our current owned property from the school right now? I believe it's Strike Lane approximately.
Less than a minute, like
It's a couple minutes away.
a minute.
So we would be just adjacent to the school is what you're thinking?
Well, either we'd sell the property that we have, which we bought at a very reasonable price when we purchased that. We'll always be able to get more money than we paid for it. My thought was if we had a station on the school grounds, I believe that a station would be a deterrent, only because there's going to be somebody there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and anytime there's activity, as we know, people look for soft targets, and even though our firemen aren't armed, our firemen are there, and obviously not afraid to be in harm's way, and God forbid if there ever was an incident there, we're already on scene, but I think it could be a deterrent. I'm not going to speak for the sheriff's department because that's outside of our wheelhouse, but I think over time in Lee County as we go, it may make some sense as we build new schools to.
I think it's the best idea I've heard in a long, long time, that you're really thinking outside the box. And it's my understanding our current response time to that area right now is 12 minutes,
12
which is
minutes.
way too long.
It is.
And I don't speak for the school board, but I think they need a good win right now. It's a win-win for the people of Bonita, the school board. It's a great idea.
The only thing I don't know is if they have, they've got 80-some acres there. I don't know how the retention and everything's laid out. They've used a lot of the property. We don't need that much space to put a station. I just don't. I think that's obviously the first hurdle that we have to look at if everybody's in agreement. After that, we're probably 2 or 3 years away from breaking ground on one, so that would give us plenty of time. But as we've all dealt in the past, anytime you're dealing with government agencies and you're dealing, especially if there's more than one agency and trying to get all the ducks in a row, it can take some time. So I would again, not to pontificate on it, I'd like to pursue it.
If I may, I brought this idea up, well, I don't know if you had mentioned to me or I just thought of, met with the chief, and we discussed it, but he was not in favor of it at the time because of certain situations that I don't recall the exact reasons at the time. Greg, you?
No, since that time, I know we've talked about it. The only question would be is if the school board would sell it to us, that way it would still be ours. That would be the only
I thought
hurdle, I guess you would call
he was
it.
worried about having a full engine there or a mini pumper there, or I thought it wouldn't be feasible to have a full engine there. There were some reasons that he was not in favor of, and I mean, I think it's a great idea, but I just want to
Yeah,
get
I
some
think
information from him.
Maybe one thing that that you and him were speaking of was he would not be in favor of a mini pumper there. Not
No.
put a
We'd have to-
satellite
have to be-
station,
And
put a full
after-
Have to
station
be a
there.
full station.
Obviously,
Yes.
I had an extensive meeting with the chief on this early on, before I would ever bring it up, to make sure, to find out all the stuff I don't know. But at one time, that was a discussion, even on Strike Lane area, to just do a substation with a mini pumper like on the beach. That is since not feasible and
Correct.
for all the valid reasons. At the time, it was just a thought process, like when we do all this planning, we kick a lot of ideas around in a room, and then hopefully we come up with a plan amongst all of us that works the best. So I don't think that's on the table anymore.
Correct.
No, I'm fine. I'm in favor of any kind of research on this, anything to help out. I think it's a great idea.
The other thing I had this evening is that I received, I don't know if anybody else got it, I got an email from the chairman of the Fort Myers Beach Fire Department, and he sent it out to all special districts in Lee County to write a letter from our department and have it to do something about the red tide and to try to join in force as elected officials to at least back Mayor Wayne Santabel's effort to try to get some money and some funding to do something about the red tide and everything running down from Lake Okeechobee. We would need a consensus of the board to have administrative staff send that letter that we do support. Last night, I think, what department was it? I think it might have been, I don't want to quote it, I got to look through. I get so many emails that I got to read over, but there was another board that met last night, or Friday night, and they unanimously approved to support that cause. I don't know if you have interest in doing it or not. I see no reason why we can't. It's only going to serve the public better, but my fellow commissioners, it's entirely your call.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that we should do everything we can to aid anybody who's trying to fight red tide right now. If there's anything we can do as a board, I say we step forward and let's show our support.
We all okay on that consensus-wise? We don't need a motion to do-
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll get together with you. We'll figure out how to where to send the letter to. That's all I have this evening. Old business, Station 26.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that you got an entire consensus as to the first motion about approaching the school board, or about the idea of that, or moving forward. I think you got a general, but did we get
Well-
everybody's?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I support investigation, any investigation, the proper location of a fire station. Putting on city property is okay. The determination, and has not been made to me, is I have not seen evidence that we need the station at this time. And
You guys.
I have not seen documentation that we have a 12-minute response time up there. If you recall, a couple of years ago, I was the person who brought forth the question about having a station north of the new country clubs going up there. So I think the commissioner's idea of the city property is a good idea. I just want to be sure that it's time and that we can justify having another station in Bonita Springs. So your idea is fine.
Okay, thank you. Station 27, parking structure under old business.
Under old business, I just wanted to bring the board up to speed. The parking structure itself is completed. It's done.
It's really nice, too.
It
Went over and
looks,
looked at it.
looks very well. It looks very good. Well done, well built. It's not complete yet. We are going to put lattice work up on the west side of there and some bougainvilleas or some type of shading plants along that side. So that should be done by our next meeting. So again, we'll have some pictures of that at our next board meeting. So that's all with
Okay.
update on that.
New business, first item is disposal of assets report. I need a motion to accept that.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Change order number 3, polished concrete floor time extension for EnviroStruct. You need a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Change order number 6, over the added utilities. We need that motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Now, we've got some purchase orders over 10,000 that we need motions to approve. One is for Motorola. Do you want to discuss these, or do we?
Yeah,
is
it's
this
up to you.
just-
If the
I mean,
commission has
if
questions.
everybody's read them over, are we all good on it?
I'm good.
I make a
Okay.
motion, I make a motion for the Motorola.
I need to-
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. The Intertech Security, need a motion to accept that one?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
And I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. And
I
then,
might mention, this could address Commissioner Fitzgerald's concerns about the audiovisual.
Municipal Emergency Services, motion to approve that?
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Normally, at this time, we would have Chief Daigle. Unfortunately, we're all pulling for him. He's a tough Marine. He's been through worse than this. He'll get through it, but he's like the rest of us. He's a little older Marine than he used to be, so it's going to take a little longer. But our best wishes go out to him, of course. Assistant Chief DeWitt.
Yeah, I have a few things. First of all, Chief Daigle does express his grief in not being here. It really tore him up not to be here today. He did come into work for a little while. He was here from 7:30 to about 3:30. He's not able to drive, so he has to have somebody pick him up and drop him off. But he did come in today. He's getting better every day, so he wants to thank all the commissioners for their thoughts and prayers and well wishes. But he's doing well. They think he's going to be in a brace for anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So, like you said, he's a tough Marine. He's getting better every day. So, other things going on. Just want to bring everybody up to speed. Station 23, if you have not been up there, is progressing quite well. All the brick is almost done on the outside of it, the brick veneer. The floor polishing is being done right now. The one that you guys extended is being conducted. Interior walls are getting started also. So it's, in my estimation, and according to the fire marshal and myself, we have bi-monthly meetings with them. They're on schedule, or dare I even say a little bit ahead of a schedule right now.
And what's the target date to open that?
Target date is mid-November. So they're moving along real well right now.
That'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing, on your desk, you do have a artist rendition of Station 1's kind of September 11th Memorial Park or
Yep.
seating area. Just want to let the board know that we're starting to get bids in for those right now. They're ranging anywhere from about 30 to 45,000, 35 to 40,000. We're still waiting on a few other bids right now. We have some money in the budget this year, and then we've budgeted more for next year, so it's going to be an ongoing thing. This would be phase 1, and right now it's mostly just getting the infrastructure in with the walkways, a few benches, and new signs.
Obviously, we wouldn't have anything done in time for this year.
Probably not, no.
Mr. Chairman, this will be paid for with private funds still?
At this time, no. We had budgeted, I think, $20,000 in this year's budget to do it. We have another, I think, 40 or right now allocated. We have some funds allocated for next year.
We had some, not pushback, but we had some advice from council, from our attorney, that as commissioners, going out to try to raise money could be sticky, whereas as a private citizen and a taxpayer, you could. Well, my take on that is that's too fine a line for us as commissioners to
Right.
get involved in, because are you a commissioner or are you a citizen? And if somebody, I can see that ending up in front of an ethics commission.
Yes.
So if anybody else wants to try to get, sponsorships from whoever, whomever,
Have we shared this with the city yet? the drawings?
No, we just got those
May I
late
share
today.
this with our guest,
Yes, I can give her my set
Council
right
Lady
here.
Laura Carr, who is our guest today?
She can have mine, sir. You can have mine, sir. Yeah, that, Chairman Lohan is correct. It's basically, as a sitting commissioner, we cannot go out and solicit funds for this thing. Now, not to say down the road that if we wanted to sell memorial bricks or something of that nature to recoup, it may be a different story.
I know originally we had talked about possibly putting up some nice plaques there from whatever businesses, some of the bigger, the things along those lines that, and like a Publix and Target or, something like that. But, again, it's a slippery slope for us to get involved in that. So, as usual, it's probably better off if we're going to do it, we do it ourselves.
And the final thing I have on mine, just to let the board know that we are going to be assisting in a fundraiser tomorrow from 5:30 to 8:30 down at the Bonita Village for fallen officer Adam Jobbers Miller. They're having a fundraiser down there and a silent auction at Bonita Village, which
Did I
is-
see the estimate of 400 or 500 people? How are we going to get 400 or 500 people in there?
They've got that little, well,
Yeah.
you've been there for a chamber
Yeah,
event. I believe that it's going to be over at, like I said, from 5:30 to 8:30, maybe that's what their estimation is.
Oh, okay.
But they are having, I believe, Collier County's motorcycle
Mhm.
police force down there. They're having the Lee County Color Guard there. We are displaying our memorial flag on the ladder truck there. We're getting some good coverage on it. I know tomorrow morning from 7 to 9, Fox News is going to be there interviewing either myself or some of the crew that is helping set up. So I just want to let the commission know that it is tomorrow from 5:30 to 8:30 at Bonita Village, at the corner of basically Luke and Bonita Beach Road.
Perfect.
And that's all I have, sir.
Okay, any public comment? I don't see any cards, so I'll take it.
I'm sorry, I was busy working and I just walked in the door. Is it all
Yeah,
right
we're
if I-
finishing up the meeting, so
Okay, Alex Grant, 11851 East Terry Street. The only thing I want to say is I'd make a suggestion to you, to the board. I know somebody, a customer of mine that's in Estero. He's a PhD statistician, but anyway, he's a member of the American Statistical Association. And what my suggestion is one of you guys may want to get in touch with him. You know where to get a hold of me. I can give you his name and number, etc. But he can give you the address of the American Statistical Association, and you could do they could do a study on the pension as far as when the situation might become critical or so, as far as to the taxpayers of Bonita Springs, because there could be a liability situation, say within 8 years or so, with the amount of people retiring from the from the district, and how much that would impact the money coming in from the pension fund, to if there'd be a shortfall or something like that, since you have such a large number of retirees. And if you need me to get in touch with this gentleman, I can give you the man's name and telephone number, and he can give you the American Statistical Association, and they can run, probably somebody there can run a blind test, in other words. He wouldn't have to come here. All he would have, Lisa Gendron has all the information. All she could do is just send him the information. He could take that information, do all the calculations. I don't think it would take more than a day's time. So how much could this cost? Let's say $200 to $250 an hour for 8 hours work. You could take that money out of contingency fund, say it's between $1,000 and $2,000. That's all it would cost you. It would cost you less than what you paid for putting the mural on the Fire Station 1, So it's no big amount of money, and you could have that as a peer-reviewed study by other statisticians in the country, for accuracy, and that way there's no influence by the administration or the union or anybody else, or me, or,
Thank you, Alex.
Okay? So if you need that, give me a call. I'll put you in touch with the right people.
I have no other cards, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.